every time just to make a point because he is so important to this live stream. Hold on, you just go see my little ball party. There he comes. Here he is.
I don't see you yet, Mark.
There I am. There you are. What are you talking about? Look at that. Rocking. Look at that. Taking a full part. Everything's good. Hello to everybody. It's a very interesting summer day. It's hot, humid, and like the news isn't like hot news going on, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you saw our thumbnail, we're talking about truth today, the ministry of truth. But the first truth I'm going to talk about is we have to remember that we have to help Dr. V feel the energy from this live stream. Dr. V feels love, but he needs, thank you, thumbs up to you. That's probably smart because he needs love. And I ask you, look at that face. Look at that mug. We call it a punim in Yiddish. Oh, look at those hearts. We call it a punim in Yiddish. A Shana punim, a pretty face. There he is. Look at him. We are lucky to have him. So get him worked up. He's going to be looking at your stuff in the in the mosh pit, and he's going to be already got 3 thumbs up already, Dr. V. Look at this.
Oh my God, we got Guillermo and Spartacus in there.
Right on, because of you, Dr. V. So feel that energy and blow it out at us today, okay? That's what I expect to see, and that's what I expect to hear. Look, we got a smile coming, and I also want to announce next Sunday, we're going to be recording at Dr. V's house. Dr. V and me together taking over the living room, going at it, having a good time, eating, partying, jiving, maybe having some guest stars. We look forward to seeing you there, of course. There'll be some surprises thrown in there, but no pork sandwiches. No pork sandwiches. Okay?
That's coming up in a couple weeks.
That's a couple weeks.
Middle of August. That's the pork sandwiches.
Right on, baby. So we'll see him then. We saw pictures last year when he did it. Okay, where are we? You saw our thumbnail. I think it's important we start looking at what's going on. First of all, in the Epstein case, and then we're going to blow right through it and then come back to it. But it's all just shows what's going on. Why is things hidden? Look what's happened. Trump has now sent his personal lawyer, Todd whatever, to an assistant attorney general, like the number 2 guy there, to go see Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. And they want to find out information from Ghislaine. Now, let me ask you something. She was put away for 20 years in front of a jury of 12 people. One thing we'll notice, this is something to keep in mind when we're talking about the truth, the ministry of truth. People don't seem to like, or certain people don't seem to like juries in America. When juries come up with a decision, that's 12 Americans. Well, 12 Americans found her to be a sexual abuser, trafficking young women, girls, whatever, okay? She could have said whatever she wanted to say at any time, Ghislaine. She could have turned over information. She could have done anything. But she didn't. She fought the case. She lost, was found guilty, and is in jail. Now suddenly, Trump is sending over his assistant attorney general. Don't say it's the attorney general sending him. Trump runs everything. This is the true ministry of truth. Sends him over for 2 days to talk to her. What had happened? Is it recorded? Are we going to see that? What's the hide? The best part about all this is, Guillermo, what you doing? Is that Bill Clinton said, open up the files. Open up the files. So you got Bill Clinton, who could have liability, who knows, saying, I want the files out there. You just redact the women's or the girls' names so that they're not involved in this, and you just put it out there. But no. So what do you think's happening? You don't think that the assistant attorney general isn't out there trying to make a deal with Ghislaine to try to get her to say X, Y, and Z? And what's she going to say? Oh, the president had nothing to do with it. That's what we're going to hear. And then all of a sudden, she won't get a pardon. It'll be time served, or it'll be a reduced sentence or something like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is my opinion, okay? I believe that based on the facts we're seeing out there, that's what's going on. It's the cover-up. It's an absolute and complete cover-up. What did the president know? When did he know it? And then he wants to go out there and lie and cover it up with other lies. Let's call it for what it is. Not only lies, it's devolution. We keep coming to this. We keep coming back. Great album. Great album, okay? But the bottom line is we're moving back to being snails with little tails. We are de-evolving. We're going back and doing things that used to happen in America, but shouldn't be happening any longer. We have government, absolute government corruption or apparent government corruption going on. We have certain people in there making lots of money. There was just the other day, there was a big article came out about a Republican congressman, his wife. There was an announcement, he learned something, his wife bought the stock, and the next day bought the stock, and it made incredible amounts of money, Joe. Of course, all these congressmen have the right to trade stocks whenever they want, even though they know all the facts. They won't change the law. They all say we want to change the law, so we can't do it, but they all do it. They all get rich. Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of them. So they're all the same, right wing, left wing, it doesn't matter. But we're devolving back to the days, back in the 1800s, when we had a party called the Know Nothings, where these people would come in, they would just bring in people, they need them to vote, they'd get them drunk, they'd have some food, they'd bring them in, they'd vote, and they'd run them out. And that's what's starting to happen here. That's what we're starting to see. Is this incredible corruption that's invading our government. I mean, what's interesting is that MAGA came in and said, hey, and the president came in, I'm going to clean out the swamp. Isn't he becoming the swamp? Isn't he becoming the swamp? If he's afraid, absolutely afraid to put this information out there, and he tries to cover it up with incredible amount of lies, like Obama is a treasonous person, and all these other people. Treason, come on. Treason is Benedict Arnold. And I wonder, when I hear Tulsi Gabbard, who the Russians love, and she is a major, it sure appears obvious, a major Russian sympathizer. She's been behind them all the time. She's calling President Obama, former President Obama, treasonous. I have to believe that President Trump and Tulsi Gabbard were washing their face and must have looked in the mirror when the word came up. Somebody said something and the word came up, and there were their reflections. And that's just an opinion. I don't know why their reflections would make them think that. There are those who may call it the pot calling the kettle black. I don't know. I only know that that's the real. So when you're afraid to put out the information, scared to put out the information, but what you want to do is you want to become like George Orwell's 1984. You saw our thumbnail, the Ministry of Truth. What's the Ministry of Truth? The ministry, you had Oceania was the country, and we're like Oceania here. And the Ministry of Truth came in to tell you what government wants you to hear, what government wants you to believe. The Ministry of Truth. And we are led, this Ministry of Truth, by a president who won't tell you the truth, but believes that he can say what he wants because anybody's always going to believe him. And what's so interesting and what's so incredible is that this Epstein thing ain't going away. He's going to have to open up the books. They're going to have to put it out there, because the longer it goes, the more it drips. It is so Watergate. Has nothing to do with Watergate, whether or not criminal or whatever. I'm only talking politically how it works. It's the old drip, 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 drip. More comes out, more comes out, more comes out. And at the same time, this guy who's leading our country and came in and said that he was going to stop the war in Israel and the Middle East, the wars in the Middle East. He was going to stop Russia with Ukraine. And in the Middle East, we are looking at starvation like you've never seen. Incredible. That doesn't matter what side you're on. Incredible starvation. People can't eat. You see these pictures of these people? Where is President Trump? The man who said he was going to stop that war in 24 hours. Where is President Trump? Pointing fingers, doing nothing, getting no food there. Supposedly it's starting up a little bit now. What's he doing? How about Ukraine and Russia? What's he doing there? That 50 days is still going, isn't it, Joe? He said he'd give him like 50 days or 40 days. Russia's still...
like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Russia, right. And Russia's still whacking Ukraine. Whacking them, right. Whacking them. Trump said he was going to come in 24 hours and that. He hasn't. So we've got the Ministry of Truth. It's the ministry of truth, which just isn't true, but wants you to believe it's true. So don't look here, look there. Yeah, I'm covering up with the Epstein files. We don't know why he's covering up. I'm being him. Yeah, I mean, I'm not letting it go out there. I'm not letting Bondi put it out. And please give us thumbs up whether you agree or not. We love it if you disagree. We love it if you agree. I'm going to be jumping in. I think Joe's been down there. Please give us thumbs up. Please also look at Just an American Citizen. That's my channel. We've been talking about this for years. And then Dr. V, Joe Talks, get in there. He needs some subscribers. He needs some subscribers. Give him that smile, Joe. When you got a model face like this that grins, you got to give him some subscribers. But that's where we are with all this. We are come back to why are we believing what is being given to us by the deep state? Donald Trump is the deep state. The Republican.
So
go
why
ahead.
do you think there's even cracks in the MAGA coalition right now? I mean, Trump is even losing like Joe Rogan, the shaman is speaking up against him. Why do you think that's happening?
I don't think they're going against him, Joe. I think they like him. I don't think it's a personal thing. The one guy who came on got very personal with some Nazi we had for dinner once. But absolutely got a Nazi sympathizer. But absent that, I think they all like him. I think it's just they've been looking into this for so long. How many years has this been a culture thing? And remember, politics has become emotion. You and I always disagree with it, though I think you're starting to see it. It's not rationality, it's emotion. And this Epstein thing has been an emotional thing for these people. I'm not saying right or wrong, has been an emotional thing for these people for so long, and they thought that they had the people in the deep state who were going to open up that info and give it to them, and they have to be really disappointed. They have to be sitting there and go, wow, we put these guys in power and they won't give us that which they promised. And that's why I think it, whether or not, I'm not taking a position on Trump on this piece, okay? I mean, I think it's a cover-up, but the question is, why are people so disappointed and why is it staying in the culture? I think it's because people are used to this gotcha, the gotcha. It's like they had that, the guy from, what was it, Astronomy? Was that the name of the company? For Coldplay, and they had the president and the head of human relations. Gotcha. Everybody's into gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So I think in this situation, you got a gotcha. And people are going, wow. And then all these people, the grassroots, who've been running around looking into this are going, how can you walk away from this? You promised me being one of the voters, if I was a Trump voter, which I wasn't, I've always been upfront about that. You promised me that you're going to come to this, you give us this info. I mean, where's Bongiorno? Wasn't he the number 2 guy in the FBI? He threatened to go after Bondi and said, I'm going to expose her, and he disappears. Another one, everybody disappears at Oceana, right, Joe? So, 1984. So we're there with this. I just think it's emotion, and people can't get away from it. And I think they're looking at the president, they're going, why aren't you giving us what you promised us? Because they looked at him as being the great promise keeper, and he isn't, at least so far. What are you about to say, Joe?
Yeah, what I was going to say is that Trump has been great. He's been like the Teflon Don, where he's been able to avoid any accountability on a variety of issues. But this one seems different. It's like he stepped in crap and he can't get the stink off his shoe now. Why is this one different? Why are people? Why it's not going away? Usually Trump is really masterful at controlling the what's on the news cycle, and he's lost it this time. Why is this one different?
1 second. Drew, we're going to get to the economy later. Good questions. I'm with you on it. And Guillermo, I agree, but we want to stick with this part right now. The viewers are really turning out for us. What's happening is it's different, Joe, because it's emotional. Because it goes back to QAnon. It goes back to, remember that guy believed in the pizza.
This is like a fundamental issue with his supporters.
Right.
To call out the deep state, and now he looks like he's part of the deep state.
Correct.
You're right. It's like at the Coldplay concert where they flip the camera around and they find out he's having an affair with the establishment, that he's really not part of the cleaning the swamp. He's actually part of the swamp.
The leader of the swamp. Look at our thumbnail. He's in front of the Ministry of Truth. There is no truth with this guy except his truth and what he believes. And I'll tell you this, I'm wondering about him physically. Have you seen how fat his ankles are getting and stuff? He must have vein. They're saying it's vein issues, but he's almost 80.
It looks like the job is taking a toll on him.
Well, it would take a toll on anybody. So,
it would take a toll on anybody.
But that's what's going on. So now we have a situation where they're afraid to put the information out. They're afraid to put the information out and say, please put the information out. If Bill Clinton is willing to put the information out, he says he is, put it out there. Put it out there. Drew, you're missing it. Ankles, that was a major issue with the president's health. It's really swollen. I don't know if you've ever seen people on a plane when they get really swollen. That's a problem. That could lead to a real problem with people. It could lead to what? Clots? Isn't that what happens, Joe? Stuff like that? You don't know what it could be. It was a real issue.
No, it could be heart failure. It could be just benign venous insufficiency. But his whole demeanor looks like he's suffering physically.
He is. Well, I just think because he's having a problem. Mantis, we're upset. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with America. Joe and I are obsessed with America. We're obsessed with you guys. We love having our commentators, but we're obsessed with truth. Whether we're not talking opinion, we're talking truth. Why are they afraid to put it out there? Tell me, when you got Bill Clinton willing to do it, I'll say it again. Bill Clinton, who probably has a lot of his name in there, a whole bunch of places. He said, put it out there. Put it out there. Redact people's names and end it. Why would he be afraid? You got to bang on it a bit, because why is the head of the Ministry of Truth afraid to talk about the truth? Let me jump into the mosh pit, Joe. Are they talking about this stuff? Let's see here.
Let's get through the mosh.
I'm going to the mosh pit. Came out yesterday, sounds something very troubling. Mike, I'm with that.
That's chilled out.
Yeah, but Bongino, I see that. Bongino came out.
Don't act like you care about his health. So,
Joe, I'll get to that part.
Are we worried about his health, or are we gloating that he looks unhealthy? That's the question.
Well, who said that? Who said
Someone
that, Joe?
says,
well, who was it?
Says we don't care about
What's the name? What's the name of the person?
Drew.
Drew. Come on, Drew. We're not here. We don't do that. You haven't watched us enough. We've been on for like a year together. Go look. We don't take that position. We don't want anybody to get hurt. That's not the idea. We're just saying that it's a realistic possibility that he could be really being stressed and having physical issues dealing with all this stuff. And these are real issues that we're raising. Any guy would. This man's 80. He lives on Burger King. So after a while, it's going to hit him. I don't want anything to happen to him. I don't want anything to happen to any of our presidents. That's horrible. It's just not the way it is.
Let me say, I have to give the guy credit that at his age, he is able to do an awful lot of stuff. So play around it. I played around enough this weekend, and the next day I was sore. I had to take Tylenol just to get in a hot bath just to feel better. So what all he's doing is incredible. But Father Time is undefeated, and it sounds like it's beginning to claim a little bit of a toll on him.
Alexander, love you. So we just want to understand that this isn't personal. What's important is America. What's important is where we're going. And the important question is, why the cover-up? Look at it. I keep coming back to that thumbnail because you're trying to make it so basic. The Ministry of Truth. It's right there with the president's face right in front of it. Why is he afraid to put out the truth? Why? What's in there? Yeah, they're businessmen. They're this, they're that. It's there. That's where that is. Once again, hiding. It's Watergate. It's de-evolution. We're going backwards. What did the president know, and when did the president know it? And we're finding out more and more. When he sits there and goes, I don't know. They didn't, Mr. President, were you told you were in the files? No, he said. Oh, really? You were told. Come on. It's lies and all the rest. let me come, it just seems, it's like deja vu, Joe. It's like deja vu. Remember, we wake up and read in the paper, there'd be something new going on in Watergate. People, you're not going to stop this. You don't think the Wall Street Journal doesn't have stuff put away that they're going to slowly keep putting out there? It just doesn't make any sense for people to think otherwise. They were everybody's high-profile businessmen. Right on Bongino, with the Justice Department, we got to wait. She gave 100 names. Mike, all the names are out there. She can't give any more names that are out there. I mean, the guy, Trump's personal attorney, went to interview her. We have not seen the transcript. Have you seen the transcript? I haven't. 2 full days of Q&A. Okay, you're raising good issues, Mike. But why now, all of a sudden, 5 years, 7 years later, she has names that we never heard about? She tried her case. She said, hey, and she lost. Epstein was dead. She had to take care of herself. That was the bottom line, and she didn't. So one has to believe, or not believe, one has to assume, I assume, that if you're going to see her now, she's going to give you anything she thinks you want to hear. What do you want to hear? I'll give you 100 more names. Does that mean I don't have to stay in jail for a full 20 years? Does that mean I can get out like after 5 years or for time served? Of course she's going to give them whatever they say want to hear. And let me tell you this. I'll tell you what's ludicrous. They have this thing about how the 2 lawyers are close. Trump's personal lawyer, who's the attorney general or the assistant attorney general, and her lawyer. Big deal. Lawyers are close. Doctors are close. Accountants are close. People are friends. You can respect others in the profession and still go at it head to head because your job is as a lawyer to represent your client's interests. So me, you see, just so you'll know, those I keep hearing on CNN and stuff, that's a big issue. To me, it's no issue. And on MSNBC, lawyers can go head to head. Doesn't matter how good friends they are. They go head to head. They try the case. Who wins? Who wins? As a lawyer wants to win, he doesn't want to lose, he or she. So let me just get off that quickly. But it looks like a setup here. 100 names? Come on. 100 names we could have heard about years ago. The couple in Cincinnati, I'm not sure about that, Guillermo. I'm not picking that up. Listen, to do the PDF file. Nah, it's a real mustache, Ruben. My wife told me that if I shaved it off, she'd get rid of me. She says I don't even look good with it. But she's had to put up with me all these years. But she says if I shave it off, I'm going to give you something personal. She says I sweat here the way Nixon used to sweat, and she didn't want it. She can't put up with that. It's been a lot of years, so what am I going to do? I got to deal with it. And I know what the mug looks like. Okay, let's keep going here. Cat Alexander, there we are. Drew, you're seriously talking about, I don't know, so what?
Drew wants to talk about the economy.
Okay, then we're getting to the economy. We're about to get there. But right now, we just have a lot of people watching this thing. And they're into it. Speaker Obama, call a spade a spade. I don't know what you're saying there, but there's nothing there with President Obama. Let's get this thing straight, okay? He didn't commit treason. There are 2 issues that they're trying to conflate. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard, in my opinion, is a Russian sympathizer and loves Russia and loves their position. And it's all based on facts. Go Google her on all the Russian news stations. And then and she's talking treason, like she knows what the word means. And then you got the president talking about treason there also. What are they talking about? There were 2 issues. Number 1, the issue was, did Russia attempt to get involved in the 2016 election on behalf of President Trump to try to help him win with propaganda? That is one question. Question number 2 is, were they successful in being able to get involved and change votes? Now, the Secretary of State, President Trump's Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was the head of the Senate committee that looked into whether or not the Russians tried to throw propaganda in to help Trump. He ran that subcommittee. He ran that committee. The Republicans ran the Senate. So he was the leader of the committee. He signed on the report that said the Russians did indeed try to get involved in the election and tried to help with some propaganda, Trump, but nobody said that they were successful. That's what Marco Rubio said. The Secretary of State, Joe Major, Donald Trump's Secretary of State. So that's a fact, unless everybody here who thinks President Obama did something, former President Obama did something, thinks that Marco Rubio is a liar. And I wanted to call them out if they feel that way. I don't see it. I think Rubio's pretty straight up. So that's point one. Issue two, I'm sorry, that was issue one. Issue two is, thank you for the hearts, I love you guys. Issue two is, were they successful, the Russians, in getting involved in that election and changing votes? The answer was no, and there are interviews with President Obama with the press asking him the questions. Were the Russians successful in entering into the election and changing votes? And he said no. He just said it. No, N-O, no, no, no. So those are the facts. Now you have Tulsi Gabbard coming in and saying, well, there's one person or this person here or that person there says the Russians did not change votes. Well, they didn't change the votes. President Obama said they didn't change the votes. But Marco Rubio, I keep saying Marco Rubio. I like the name. I'm a Mark, and I was called Marco growing up, and I'm not a Marco. Marco Rubio said and signed on as head of the intelligence. I think it's the Intelligence Committee in the Senate.
He signed on.
But he's the top. He was the chairman, Joe. Yeah, he is. Right. That's what's so important. And he's the Secretary of State. I haven't seen him back off of that report. Have you? No. He came right since Tulsi Gabbard came out and called out former President Obama being a treasonous person and Trump. I haven't heard Marco Rubio come out and say, well, yeah, that report was wrong. He hasn't said anything. He's being awfully quiet, isn't he, Joe? Because it's a lie. It's the Ministry of Truth. Tulsi Gabbard has been called out, and Trump has been called out. And that's why there really isn't anything there. It's Marco Rubio. Thank you, Marco Rubio. That's what makes it so easy here. And you could, but what makes it even easier is taking Tulsi Gabbard, Googling her and saying, Google Tulsi Gabbard, as the Russian media talks about her, or who she was interviewed with, or if she went to Syria with Assad, the dictator, and met with him in secret. Put all that in. See if that comes up. It's going to. This is who you're listening to about treason? Treason? Trump, who got people whipped up? I mean, I'm not saying he led January 6th, but he sure got people whipped up. Come on. And that wasn't treason.
I'm giving people some credit here, Mark. That was obviously an attempt to recapture, the headlines, the news headlines, and it didn't work. People are still focusing on the Epstein stuff and the cover-up of the Epstein stuff. So that strategy to distract people, I think, didn't work. So, and I give the American people a lot of credit for that. And I keep coming back to why Trump's own supporters are not giving up this story, why they're still concerned about it. And it seems like maybe people are waking up a little bit that it is a little bit of 1984, that, when you mix politics and medicine, you just get politics. When you mix politics with entertainment, you just get politics. When you mix politics with education, you just get politics. And I think people are fed up with that. People want the truth. They want honesty. They want to expose corruption, not cover it up anymore.
Correct. But remember, Joe, they separated from Trump. He's able to separate himself from it. So they may get mad at him. They may think he's obstinate or whatever, but his supporters are going to stay with him. This is a different issue, okay? The issue, which is what you're hitting and where we are. It's the emotion. They can't get off of it. Do I think there's anything in there? What do I know? I wasn't invited on the plane. I wasn't invited to his big mansion. I wasn't invited to the island. So who knows, okay? I personally thought there was nothing in there except what we all know. If you remember, Joe, and we've done it on some of our shorts. Guys, go on to the shorts on Just an American Citizen, the last two shorts and some other shorts, and our live streams where we've kept saying, why would he hide it? I didn't think there was anything there to hide. I don't think there's anything there to hide. We all know he was buds with them. We all know he went to Marla Maples' wedding. We all know they called each other great friends. What's there to hide? Just put it out there. So there's something to hide. What, when, where, how, and then what's the other word I'm missing? Why? That's where it all is. And you have to look at those words, and they're not answering any of them. There's a real problem with that, a real problem, because we're going backwards, Devo. And I think the president's really missing what's a real issue. And obviously it's an issue. And we're getting great turnout today because it's a great issue. And look, thank you all for coming on. I'm going to jump into the mosh pit here on a Sunday, on a hot Sunday.
To have this many people.
Well, thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
For the people who are supporting Trump or in the MAGA, maybe you can help teach me a little bit. Does the Epstein issue cause you concern? Is it something that you begin to wonder if Trump presents a certain face, but behind the scenes, he really is part of the conspiracy, that he is, trying to cover up because he is part of the problem. He's not here to solve the problem. So you can give me your feedback and let me know if this is something that concerns you or not.
We love this. Love to have that. Go for it.
Some people have been. You want to talk about the economy? Do we want to switch over to that?
Well, we'll get to it.
Waiting for that.
I know, but let me get back into the mosh pit. We just got so many people putting in
all right.
comments, Joe. It's incredible, and we appreciate your comments. Drew, I'm not going to put that. Guillermo, there. Somebody's afraid. Somebody's afraid of what's coming out there. The First Amendment Project. I'm not sure. Democratic activist Judge Rubin has blocked access. No, wrong, Philip James. Thank you for raising the issue. Philip James has raised the issue that a judge has blocked access to files from a grand jury investigation. That always happens, Philip. It's almost impossible to get files out of a grand jury investigation because it's in secret. As you all know, grand juries are in secret. And they take in all these facts and all this non-facts or just speculation and stuff, and they put it all together. So there is so much stuff in there, people who probably have no business having their name mentioned or issues raised or anything like that. So the law has always been very, very tough in protecting the secrecy of grand jury deliberations and the witnesses and the testimony and all that. To get that info requires incredible reasons to do it. And keep this in mind, Ghislaine said she didn't want it out there. Number two is, what would you have found out even if the judge puts it out? You're only going to find out issues between Ghislaine and Epstein. It has nothing to do with the third parties, all these rich people who are out there. That's a different issue. It wouldn't even be covered in the grand jury. So that's why. Before you even consider releasing grand jury testimony or whatever, you have to redact so many people's names and so much stuff. And the administration didn't do that. So that's what happened. It has nothing to do with being a Democratic judge. There's Republicans. All the judges do it, Philip. It's across the board. But it's a good question. I already answered you on Obama. I care very much. I think karma is on the way, Miss Amy. I believe in karma. We're there. Release the files. We're there. Trump's in perfect health. Leroy. Trump is in perfect health. Remember, Trump may expose himself if those files are released. Leroy, isn't that what we're saying? You see that from Leroy Hines there, Joe? That's what we're saying, Leroy. He may be exposed if they're released. That is the only reason I can see for the cover-up. What's the reason otherwise? And please, give us thumbs up. Whether you like us or not, we love your commentary. We love what you're all saying. Please give us thumbs up. Please go to Just American Citizen. Check some of my stuff out. Subscribe. Got years worth of stuff on there. Joe, Dr. V, Joe Talks, the addiction specialist in the world.
And the Substack. Don't forget the
Substack, which we have in the
right there in the description.
In the discovery, right in the description.
Substack.
Thank you, Joe. We put together Substack articles, notes, and everything else. So thank you on all that. But no, that's where we are with all this. Trump, Leroy, I think he's going to be exposed. Do I think he's in perfect health? No. At 80 years old, it's hard for anybody to be in perfect health, Leroy. I don't see it with him. It's not the biggest concern of Americans. Drew, you're right. It's not the biggest. But If you listen to the congressmen when they're interviewing them, they're saying before they all went home the other day, they're getting calls 50 to 1 about Epstein. It was 50 to 1, 50 to 1, 50 to 1, 50 to 1. It's across the board. So it is pretty, people are really interested. They're really into it. Turn Trump upside down, Paul. Maybe you'll get the truth if you do it. Our issues are the debt. I know debt. Drew, I'm with you. I'm going to come back to it. I keep saying and only 12 likes. No, say it. It's Miss Amy. Say it. We love you. Double tap that screen for the likes. And subscribe to Just an American Citizen and Dr. V and Joe Talks. Give it to us. We love you. Why ignore? Philip, I answered your comment. I'm sorry. The left is totally silent when Hunter's laptop was buried. Ozzy, there was a full investigation into Hunter Biden. The Republicans controlled the House. They controlled the committee, who's a Comer. They did full investigation. They had special counsel looking into it. It was all there. I mean, they did what they did, full investigation. And Hunter Biden, I'm no supporter of Hunter Biden. This is a guy who's an addict who took his dad down, okay? And he didn't care about, in my opinion, he didn't care that much about his father, but addicts don't, right? We got the addiction specialists who we had real time could tell you. They worry about themselves and their addiction. In my opinion, his addiction was him. He didn't care about his father and just kept sucking off of him using the Biden name.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you never hear, that somebody who's addicted to cocaine gets involved with sex orgies and winds up stealing money, taking advantage of his father's reputation.
I don't know if he stole money, Joe. Joe, I don't know if he stole money, but he definitely used his name, his dad's name, to get money for paintings and stuff like that.
I'm not saying Biden did. I'm just saying somebody who's addicted to cocaine.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
Steals money or takes advantage of the situation to feed their habit.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know anything specifically about
I just know Hunter Biden is meaningless. What happened to him, he got lucky. His dad was president, got him off. Hey, Hunter Biden's got to live with himself. He's done all these interviews. I don't know why. This guy should go underground and forget about it and get on with his life. But Hunter Biden, you can talk all you want. He's meaningless to me. He's not one of my favorite people. Okay. There we go. Democratic Judge Boss. Listen to what I told you, Mike. It wasn't a Democrat. I don't care if it's a Democrat. If it was a know-nothing judge. You don't release grand jury files. You just don't do it. Okay? TDS. I know Trump's deranged, Johnny. We've said it for the longest time. It is real people. Trump is a real person who's deranged. You're so correct. I agree with you. I'm in the mosh pit right now. No, we're having spin anyway. Philip, what lies have I spun? Here we go. I'm calling it out. Philip, we're there. Philip James makes a statement. Keep spitting you lies. Okay? Joe and I have told you opinion and fact. What have we said that is a lie? That's like calling President Obama, former President Obama, a treasonous guy. That's like calling Trump treasonous. I mean, come on. Here we go. Ellie, barbershop here. The bill is going to affect people that are ready to retire. Are you talking about the big, beautiful bill? It's going to affect everybody. Here we go. MAGA, say you honor and believe. Well, we believe in we believe in the amendments. Okay, let's get into this then. You want to do this? Let's talk about the economy, because the economy is not in a good position. It's hanging in.
Happy to hear that.
I know Drew will be. Drew, I'm with you, Drew. But I think we're slowly tilting, very slowly tilting. Let's look at this. I've been raising for months now, and people weren't talking about, they are now, how horrible the housing market is, but the housing inventory. Remember, Joe, I raised months ago. The housing inventory was building up. There are plenty of houses up there, but people aren't buying them. It's not just because of the mortgage, it's because they're too high in price, which means maybe the prices will come down a bit, but who wants to get out of your house if you got a 2 3/4% mortgage? So you got to deal with all this. So what happens? The big boys are going to go in, buy more housing. They're going to turn it into landlord-tenant stuff, and there's going to be less housing out there for people to buy, which will make the prices still have to go up. It's just our whole housing program is yesterday. It's totally yesterday. And now the guy ahead of Fannie and Freddie is run by a trust fund baby whose parents and grandparents had a major housing company, and he's 35, and he's suddenly a genius. He's a trust fund baby, and that's why we're having some real issues, because they don't know what to do with housing except to build it and sell it, and they're lost. So we got a problem there. How about inflation? I want to go over an inflation issue. And Joe, this is where Joe starts with me. But Joe and I, we're going to talk it two different ways, okay? Because I want to understand this. There is embedded inflation, and it isn't going away, and this is why. The prices are up like 16% for clothes, for electronics. Let me finish. Let me. It is this. Let me finish. They're showing those numbers. Electronics are up, clothes are up, washers, dryers, all that's home furnishings are up big time. Now wait a second. They're up 15, 20%. Let me tell you why inflation is so bad, Joe. Open your mind here. And the rest of you open your mind, okay? When they look at inflation, if a price goes from $100 to $110 between the two reporting periods, that's a 10% increase. I'm just taking any number. That's a 10% increase in inflation, right? And then if the price doesn't go up the next reporting period, it's no increase in inflation, right?
Right.
Wrong. Because that 10% never leaves. And that's what everybody forgets. The bottom rung keeps coming up. So if you were paying $100 for something and 1 month it turns to 110, it's not coming back down to 100. It's going to stay at 110 or go up later. So that's why inflation is higher than people think, or put it, because they want to say, oh, it only goes up once. Tariffs are a tax. You hear that all the time. It's a one-time tax. But nobody's big at bringing the price down. Steel is up big time. There's a 50%.
And gas is down.
Wait. We're talking. There's no new tariffs on gas.
Inflation. People will say
there's no new tariffs on gas.
There's reasons for it, but people say that under Biden, inflation really took off. It was like 9%, 10%, and it's never come down from that. And you're right. The baseline does go up. And very rarely does it come down. And so people are still feeling the effects of that inflationary period after COVID, when the price of everything went up, including the price of houses and food and everything else.
Let me tell you, under Volcker, interest rates were up to like 20%. I'm not talking yesterday. I'm not talking Biden. I'm talking about where we are today, Joe. I don't care what Biden did.
You said when there's inflation, the baseline doesn't come down.
That's correct. So I said right now.
And inflation and the baseline went up dramatically.
I don't care when it. Nobody's Joe and Biden and the Democrats lost the election. So we're past. Wait a second. So we're past that issue. I don't care about what happened then. We have a president now. We have a Republican Congress, and we're dealing with issues now. I don't know what happened in the past is what happened, and the Democrats lost for it. That's what happened. Now we have an administration that came in and said, I'm going to get it straight. I'm going to get it straight. So when you go out now and you have a tariff, and the tax, which is a tax, and it's put on top of a price, and it gets raised, that price does not go down. It becomes embedded inflation. It becomes embedded. You go out to lunch. It used to be you could get a nice lunch for $10 just a few years ago, and that includes COVID, I understand. But now, if the prices are outrageous to go to Burger King or McDonald's, wait a second. And what you're having now is steel is up 50%. Steel goes into cars. Yeah, that's the tax. That's the tariff. That's the agreement. Cleveland Cliffs loves it. And because of that, Cleveland Cliffs now says, I wish somebody from a foreign country would buy me because I'm easy to buy. So what happens is they put in the tariffs against the foreign steel, and then Cleveland, these are proof numbers, Joe. And Cleveland, look up Cleveland Cliffs. And they were the big political players. And Cleveland Cliffs raises their prices, and nobody's doing anything. So you raise the price from outside the country, and then America raises the price. It's inflation. It doesn't go away. And then they are putting the money in their pocket. It's total politics. It's total inflation. You go to eat lunch. You go to eat dinner. You go to pick up food at the store. We buy so much and bring it home. The prices are through the roof. And they're not going down. And now you're not going to be able to, vegetables are starting to go up. Fruits are starting to go up because you're not going to be able to pick that stuff up. All of this is that toys have gone up a little bit. They're going to be going up more. It's just slowly, it's just all happening. And you see these numbers, they don't go away. Look at a car, 50, 60 grand. Donald Trump came in and said he was going to come in to this country and he was going to turn around inflation and he was going to get the economy going. And what he has done is he is forcing inflation up while forcing the economy down. So he goes to the Fed and says, please help me. I need you to reduce interest rates because we got a problem. Remember this, Joe. If Trump wasn't afraid that the economy was in trouble, he wouldn't be begging. He doesn't beg, that's his way of begging. He wouldn't be begging the Fed Reserve Chairman to reduce interest rates. It's because of the way he is dealing with the economy. The big, beautiful bill, which is already starting to cut into people's health care. How about FEMA? Have you seen what's going on? Remember we talked about this? Texas got wiped. Trump goes there. Texas gets all their money. I'm happy for them. They're Americans. I can show you states that have been begging for FEMA money for the last 4 or 5 months from Trump, and he won't give it to them. Why? Look what's going on in Texas. Once again, the Ministry of Truth. What's going on in Texas? What kills the economy? This kind of politics. Trump has said to Texas, redistrict. They get a couple other congressional seats so we can have more Republicans win. Split it up even more. And what happens when they do that? The cash from Trump comes pouring in into Texas. You don't look, that doesn't look like a payoff. That doesn't look like just, hey, I'll wash your hands, you'll wash mine. That doesn't look like the swamp. That doesn't look like the dark state. What are we talking about here? So that's what kills the economy. When you're just sitting there helping those who you think are your friends and instead of helping Americans, you got a problem. So you want to take all that money and put it to Texas. But what happens to all these other states? What is it? Indiana? I think there's like 4 or 5 other states that have been begging for it. He won't give it to them because he doesn't care. They don't vote enough for him or something doesn't happen. That's what's going on. That's also what's killing the economy. Tariffs, which are taxes, embedded inflation, and every deal he makes, it's another 15% on top of the numbers, Joe. And those prices don't come down. You can't tell me it isn't expensive out there. It is. That's the problem. So yes, you want to know about the economy? That's the economy. The economy again, de-evolution. Everybody forgets we're not going to have a depression, but we had the depression, a major reason because of the tariffs. Go ahead.
I number one, what I agree with you, and I think people in the mosh pit is that things are too expensive, particularly the price of housing. It's, it's, as people said, probably it would be hard for people to afford their home that they're in now. That prices have gone up so much that we wouldn't even be able to buy our own homes. True. And things are still going up. True. I think what's upsetting people is that there's a feeling that the burden of inflation and the burden of the economy is really not being borne by everyone in the country, that there's a group of people that are able to get by, that are not being hit with this, that mostly it's affecting the middle class, and the super rich are still getting by without having to be burdened by this.
So how do we disagree? We're not disagreeing on that.
You don't agree that
I said we're not disagreeing on that.
In this country that some people are getting off without having to pay the burden of inflation?
No. You prefaced your statement with you don't agree. I'm saying to you, I agree with you on that. I've been yelling about this for a while. The big beautiful bill pumps cash to the rich people like crazy.
For people who say we have TDS syndrome and all that, I think there's a lot more agreement with people in the mosh pit than you might acknowledge. That we feel that, or I feel, that there's income inequality here. That the people who are super rich are able to get by, and the people who are bearing the brunt of inflation and bearing the brunt of this economy are the hardworking people who try to get by, try to obey the rules, try not to cheat on their taxes, and I include myself in that group, and we're the ones who are suffering the consequences. And then there's this sense, and this goes back to even Epstein, that there's a certain group of people that are controlling the media, are controlling how we think about things. And that's the group that's not suffering. That's the group that's taking advantage of the rest of us.
The ministry of truth. I'm with you, Joe.
Truth, yes.
The ministry of truth. And that's what's going on with this. And of course, the rich people are running away. Trump's pumped all that crypto money in. He's making hundreds of millions of dollars, putting it in his pocket, his family's pocket. That's out now. Everybody's forgotten about it because it didn't matter. It was Trump. I'm with you. These guys feel that they are entitled to everything. Money, power, everything, and they run with it. And then when there's a real issue like the Epstein issue, when people say, okay, you got the money, you got the power, now show us what's in the files, they go, no, I'm afraid, there must be something there, I'm afraid to give it to you. It's the deep state, I agree. It's wealth, it's more than income inequality. I don't know, I don't like those words. I just think it's a word, the issue is people aren't making enough to live. And that's the bottom line. And there's just not going to be money there for these food areas where people are having issues getting food because of the big, beautiful bill cut off payments to these nonprofits that are helping to feed people who can't get food and can't get vegetables and stuff. That's where so you and I agree. It's horrible. And that is all part of the Epstein thing. I agree. It totally is. So why is Trump covering up for those people? Because he is one of them. He is one of them, Joe.
People are coming to the realization of that. The people who showed up at his inauguration, the billionaires, that's really his group, not the people that he says that he's defending. He's not fighting for you. He's fighting for a certain group of very rich people. Those are the people he's protecting with the Epstein files. That's the people that he's protecting with your taxes. That's the group that he's protecting with the economy. And I think people are beginning to wake up to he's not for me. He's not looking out for my interest. And pointing to Hunter Biden, pointing to Obama, those are all distractions that really don't mean anything. When you come right down to it, the facts are that this guy is not really fighting for my interests. He's fighting for the interests of a select few.
And it's not just him, Joe, it's his whole group. But once again, I think people separate him from that. But I agree with you. And that's where we are with it. And that's why he's saying the select few is the Trumps. That's who he's fighting to cover for. He doesn't care about the other people. He lets them make money to make money. He's focused on Trump making money. Trump Jr., Trump this, Trump. Cash, 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 cash. Hide. Ministry of truth. Have a problem with the truth. Have a problem with the truth. Have a problem with the truth. Read 1984. Learn who Big Brother was. Big Brother comes out in 1984. And now, time to calm down. Time to get into a little bit of music. I'm going to take you back to the music, the album that set my consciousness forward. That when I was a young kid, a little kid, not as old as the girls that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein took advantage of, but cutting up there, okay, this album came out, and the music, I still to this day can sing it, go with it, and it still sounds good. Get ready. Get ready. Meet the Beatles. Now, understand something. This was their first album in America. I think VJ's was. This is their first album in America. This is a mono album. This is also available in stereo, it says, but mono was done where all the instruments, all the voices got pushed through on one track through one speaker, and it still sounds great. As I Want to Hold Your Hand, I saw her standing there. It won't be long. All I got to do, all my loving. Put on this album. Turn off everything else. I Want to Be a Man, Your Man, Not a Second. Till There Was You, which came from The Music Man, Joe. The big Broadway song, hit. The Music Man with 76 trombones and the big parade. Till There Was You is in there. Till There Was You. And Paul comes out and sings it. This is just an excellent album. Meet the Beatles. It turned my head on. I was going, where did this come from? We'd be in line to go to lunch and be singing, I saw her standing there. Ow! Just going at it.
Later Beatles.
That's
when they got good.
Are you boring? This is the great phase. All the phases were great. Look, I'm not, as I told you, they were never my number one group. But I loved them because I go back to my record collection. I can't believe how many Beatles albums I have. It's like crazy. So this is great music. You got to start somewhere and build it up. You should see some of these songs. Incredible. It won't be long. Turn that on. It won't be long. Yeah, 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 yeah. Turn it on. Crank it up. And when you're listening to the song, go to where Joe, just before the Super Bowl, did his little Eagles dance and have it go back and forth while you're listening to the Beatles sing It Won't Be Long. And they won that game. So, but that's where this is a great album. This is a really, and you read about him in Time, Newsweek, the New York Times. Here's the big beat sound, that fantastic, phenomenal foursome. Meet the Beatles. What a different, all the girls came and took over the airport.
The girls love the Beatles.
Oh my gosh, they took over the airport. They couldn't stop them either way.
That's true.
Get it? Go for it.
No, start with Sergeant Pepper.
Nah, you can't understand. You got to build. I'm sorry. That's the problem. I'm telling you. Joe's problem was he was still getting A's in fourth grade. Me in fourth grade, I see some of my report cards. A. I got more like P's, and it wasn't for perfect because I was listening to music. And Joe was doing his thing. I was already a headbanger before they were headbangers. I'm there. I love it. Anyway, my favorite group was the Dave Clark Five, and I'm going to be bringing out their greatest hits one day. They were incredible. Either way, music is great. Music makes you happy. Music lets you imagine. Turn off the video. Turn off the screen. Forget it. Listen to the music. Just enjoy. Let your mind wander. You can rest, you can listen, you get worked up, you can get happy, you can get sad. It just takes you somewhere else. That's what music does. It's absolutely incredible. It makes my heart beat. It just makes it all happen. I just don't know why it isn't used in all psychiatric therapy. It just should be music, just pumping into people, tying them down until they're sitting there going like this, and then they'll come out and they're okay. Right on Wednesday, we're up Wednesday, and then Sunday our special in Philly or outside of Philly. Going to see the Eagles, man. The doctor. It's a week from Sunday. It's a week from Sunday, Joe, isn't it?
That's today.
That's today. It's next Sunday, right? Wednesday. So you'll see us thank you for the hearts. We love the hearts. You'll see us Wednesday and at 5, our show, and then Sunday it's going to be fun. Hopefully we're going to get some, as I said, some special guest stars who won't chicken out. They're always chickening out. They talk big and they say, come on, you're
That's
pulling
the original tacos.
Yeah, you're pulling them in. Come on, let's go. You can't do it. Either way, we love you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you. Please go to Just American Citizens, subscribe, give thumbs up. Dr. V. Joe Talks. He needs subscribers. Give it to him. Thank you all so much. We're here. We love your comments. I come back to you. You guys are the greatest. Because if you're square, we ain't there. And that's the way it is, Joe.
Period.
And we'll see you next Wednesday.